Hey guys, Matt from SilencingADream here. I'm changing my strings. That's not very exciting. But, the reason I'm changing my strings, if I can get the little bastard out of there, is kind of exciting. I'm going to try something very different and new for me. So, this is probably going to be shot in multiple parts, so I'm going to keep changing my strings. Please don't mind the Zach Wild videos. I was just watching, getting caught up while I got this guy restrung with some, these actually are not either the brand or the gauge I typically use. I still got some sets sitting around from when I was in school and I hadn't really settled on what gauge I like best. I mean, sometimes different gauges are appropriate for different things, but in general, I play my, let's see, I think I got a pack here. Yeah. My D'Addario 10.5. That's right, 10.5, 13.5, 18, 28, 38, 48. I wish that 48 was a 49. I know we're talking what is that? 100th of whatever unit of measurement they're using. Inch, 100th of an inch. But I swear I could feel it. I just like that 10.5. I hate going to buy them though. The only store that I know that carries them in the Bay Area is Gelb Music in Redwood City. They have them. Everywhere else I go, I walk in and I'm like, hey, you guys got the D'Addario 10.5s? And they're like, they don't make 10.5s. And I'm like, yeah, they do. I play them all the time. They're like, well, why don't you just play 11s? And I'm like, I tried 11s. Not my thing. I don't know. It's something about the 10.5 on the top, and then I do like the 49 on the bottom. Anyway, guitar nerd nonsense. Let me get back on track here. So, when I was in school, I was just trying everything under the sun out. Prior to going to school, I loved the D'Addarios, liked them best of all. Having gone through just about everything, I came back to the same conclusion. I liked the D'Addarios, but I like the 10.5s. So, what I've been doing, and the reason I'm playing an 11 to 52 set with a wound third, for those of you that care. It's 11, 13, 20 wound, 30, 42, and 52. So, bigger strings on that guy, tuned to an open F tuning. Makes it nice for the big chords and stuff, and don't mind them. I'm going to get rid of them in a minute. But, and the reason I put, actually I don't need that anymore. I know it's going to be black and white, but this is just blue, standard Scotch painter's tape. Is that I got myself a bow. So this is a cello bow. It is a 4/4 size, made of Brazil wood, with some horsehair. As you can see, I've already had at it, broken a few of them, but I put the tape on there because I noticed while I was kind of trying to get the feel for it, I tend to let the horsehair part of the bow, which is covered in rosin. Bastard. This stuff, it is super sticky. And, I'm not like a classical string instrument player. I'm a guitar player, so. But yeah, the rosin, I don't know, I've messed around with it for a couple hours and watched some videos on YouTube on bowing technique or whatever. I don't really care so much about the hand stuff because I'm not really playing an instrument where that makes sense to have good, I mean, I get it, you're supposed to do something like that, which kind of works, but oh, that sounds terrible. Anyway, I noticed, kind of like right now, a little bit that the rosin was getting on the body. And not only is this stuff very sticky. It's kind of like viscous. It's got some texture to it, and I thought, nah, it's going to eat right through the finish. Not that I am particularly precious about my instruments. I believe that they are tools, and tools are meant to be used, not, you know, put in museums and looked at like Michelangelo's David or the Venus de Milo or whatever. These are made to be beat up, and I love doing so. But yeah, just to keep the rosin off the body, I got the tape on the sides there. Little backstory on this guitar in particular. So when I was in school, one of the 3 programs I went through was a guitar building program. I did not build this. I really get a kick out of designing them though, and I had a buddy, Stephen Hobbs. I have no idea what Stephen's doing now. I haven't talked to that guy in a long time. But after the most of us graduated from the program, Stephen stayed and actually became a TA because he was fucking badass at building shit. And he was totally willing to do crazy stuff, which is what I wanted to do. So, this guitar weighs a ton. I've never actually weighed it, but it is effing heavy. It weighs more than my Les Paul easily. And is a pretty small body, so you're like, why does it weigh so much? Well, this body here is 2 pieces of bubinga glued together. It's got a super thick neck. I mean huge, but I've kind of got monkey mitt hands, so I actually find the neck pretty comfortable most of the time. Smaller necks are cool too, but every now and then I like just something with some girth, some beef to it. So that was the idea. I've always wanted a flying V. Being that I play left-handed, it is not always so easy to just go out and find such things. So it was kind of an experiment. The other thing I wanted, because I was still looking at like 2 years of being in school, was a flying V that I could fit, pardon me, into my like soft gig bag backpack case, which is supposed to fit a Strat or anything about that size. If anybody out there watching this has ever owned a Flying V or an Explorer, which my sister has, damn it, I'm going to steal that Explorer and restring it backwards. It's a great guitar. That doesn't work. They're huge, and the cases are massive, and it just ends up weighing a ton. So I was like, well, I'd really like a V that would just fit in my case that I already have, and I could take to school and back because I wanted to play the thing. So that's what I went about designing, was a Flying V with a little body, which is why everything's kind of close together and cramped, and I've got this, I think it's a Schaller, I don't remember what model, wraparound tailpiece with brass saddles. 1 volume, kill switch because I love Buckethead. Pickup selector, I don't really use tone controls, that is. 2 Bill Lawrence USA 500 XLs, because I knew a bunch of guys that in school that had like either the Seymour Duncan Dimebuckers, or I forget what went on with the whole Bill Lawrence debate. Apparently there's Bill Lawrence, whose last name I'm not going to try and pronounce. His real last name is like Juxkowitz or something. And then there's another guy who took Bill Lawrence's name and started making pickups very similar to the first guy. And to be honest, now I don't remember which one's like the legit one anymore, but these ones say Bill Lawrence USA, and if I remember right, when I ordered them, they were both 500 XLs. I know I'm rambling on and on about the specs of this guitar, but I feel that it's pertinent because it makes more sense to use this one as opposed to any of my other guitars for reasons I will soon divulge. So, other than that, huge ass neck, ebony fingerboard, maple neck, Bubinga laminate on the headstock to make it pretty, Bubinga truss rod cover, which I should just take off because I don't like covers on things. 25-inch scale length. I really wanted to try that like PRS scale length out. So this was kind of a Frankenstein already. I figured, why not? It is 23 frets. aside from, I want to say, the Gibson Frank Zappa Roxy Tribute SG. I know it's a mouthful that they're releasing, or just released this year. For those of you that don't know, Frank Zappa had an Gibson SG back in the 70s that wasn't really a Gibson SG. He actually had it, I think, custom built, I believe. And it had 23 frets, which is odd. Usually you either get like an old spec guitars, there was 21. Most guitars now there's 22 or 24. I know Ibanez has made some weird ones that have like 30 or 35 frets or something ridiculous, and you can't even like fit your pinky in between them. So I don't know what the point is. But yeah, I figured it was just so weird to begin with. Why not? Let's give it 23 frets. So it's got 23 frets, bolt on, because I like easy, and if I ever need to take the neck off, it's super easy. Anyway, the reason I restrung this guitar and put heavier gauge strings on it than what I normally use is that I wanted to play with this. And quite simply, the physical mechanics required by a human being to do this seem to make more sense, seeing as I have a Flying V with a small body. And that there's less guitar body to get in the way. I tried playing up here, which makes, I think, at first a little more sense because you've got more angle to kind of get at stuff because there's less body there. But I was watching a bunch of violin teachers on YouTube and stuff, and they all seem to play closer to the bridge. And I've watched several videos of guys like playing bows on guitars and stuff over the past couple weeks because I've been thinking about doing this for a while, but it seems to work best if I play closer to the bridge, I think, because there's more tension. I'm also getting used to the fact that I don't think I'm supposed to push that hard with this thing, and I kind of want to dig in, but it seems to me that if I dig in, all the strings go sharp. So, but why all this? Why all this nonsense? Well, A, I like weird shit, and I like doing different stuff, and as I've previously stated in vlogs, I don't like to think of the guitar just in the conventional sense of what a guitar should sound like. I'd like to think outside the box and more like, let's view it as like a tool that is used to create a texture. And it's like, I know this analogy's been beat to death, but music is an oral art, much like painting is a visual art, or colored pencil, or whatever. And visual artists mix up mediums all the time because it's different, or it's inspiring, or it's cool, or they want some specific, I don't want to say effect, like some specific like perception of whatever. So I feel the same way about guitar, and that's one reason why I wanted to do it. The other reason is a friend of mine is making a game. I don't remember what platform. I want to say it's just like on computer, but it's going to be a free game. And he asked me if I wanted to, submit some music that might be in it, and he sent me like a playlist on Spotify to listen to, and he's a big fan of Radiohead. I'm a big fan of Radiohead. I have not seen the movie The Master yet, but Johnny Greenwood, guitarist for Radiohead, scored that movie, and I think he also, There Will Be Blood, I think he scored also. So he sent me some of that stuff, and he's like, I want something kind of like this, like, not necessarily symphonic, but, something that's got that classical instrument vibe, but it's kind of different, or, it's not your normal, like, big, sweeping score kind of thing. And I dug it, I don't really listen to a lot of that kind of music, so I was very happy when I found out, like, cool, yeah, he wants something different. But I hate software. I don't hate software. I hate artificial versions of acoustic things, instruments, namely like symphonies, mostly violins, violas, cellos, double basses. Like, some of them sound pretty cool, but I still feel like it's never quite there. It's like they get 90% of the way there. Some people maybe get 95 if you want to pay tons and tons of money and have crazy like computer systems that cost you thousands and thousands of dollars to play these giant sample libraries full of stuff. But in the end, I'm like, I guess it's cool if you're someone that's going to sit in your bedroom and rescore movies or something. Like, I mean, I get it. People like it. They use it. Cool. Is it what I would do? No. So I thought about it and I'm like, alright, I definitely dig the vibe of something kind of funky, but with classical elements to it. Or just very traditional element. That's how I like to think of it, like cello, viola, violin. These are all very traditional instruments. Electric guitar has only been around for like 60 years, or a little longer. And I'm left-handed. I've tried playing things right-handed. My brain gets stuck and stupid for whatever reason. Playing right-handed, no simpatico with me, Brano. And I can't just go out and like rent a left-handed cello or a left-handed violin. Or even if I did rent a right-handed one, like, I'd have to, since I don't know what I'm doing with those things, like, I'd have to pay someone to, like, flip the nut, which is this part up here, which holds the strings. Because, see, that's bigger than this one. And it's the same way on other string instruments, so I'm not going to go around flipping nuts on instruments I'm not familiar with. The bridge, I don't know if it's pinned in place or it's floating. I guess you can just flip that around. But anyway, point is, it's a rental instrument. I'm not going to go doing that shit to it. And I found online left-handed violins and cellos. I just don't have an extra, like, the decent ones look like they're between, like, for the cello, probably $600 to $900. For the violin, like $500 to $700. And I don't play them. So not only would I kind of have to hack my way at, or try and basically be a hack at trying to play the cello and make it, or the violin, and make it sound how I want, or I could find an alternative. So I thought long and hard about it, and I decided, well, I've kind of been bouncing the idea of playing a guitar with a bow, because fucking Jimmy Page did it, a bunch of people have done it over the years. I've just never gone out and got a bow and tried it. So after watching a bunch of YouTube videos and deciding it doesn't sound that off, to be honest, I think I could probably get away with it. I decided that's what I'm going to try. So I know that I'm being really long-winded about this to begin with, but these are the things that bother me and that keep me awake in the morning, because I don't sleep at night. I work at night. I decided to go with an open tuning, which, for those of you that don't know, is just basically you take the notes in a chord and you tune the guitar to the notes in the chord. In this case, it's F, A, C, F, C, F. So those are actually all the same note. No, I'm sorry. Those ones are the same note. But it sounds cool, and you can do really easy things like, and you're just moving this giant chord around, which is cool. And granted that there's a slight radius or curve to the strings, but it's not like on a violin or a cello where it's like, it's a pretty, decent curve, which allows you to kind of either get at one string or get at two strings, or maybe, I guess if you pressed on the bow, maybe get at three. Like I said, I don't play it. But it's a little harder to not hit the other strings on a guitar. So I figured, well, a lot of guys that play slide guitar play in open tunings because it's a lot easier for the same reason. And it'd be a lot easier to kind of just hit them all and have them be these cool chords. So that's what I'm going to try doing. I want to put some of this kind of nonsense on some of the other tracks that we already have kind of going for the EP, because I feel like some of them need to be filled out a little. And then I fully intend on writing some music for my buddy's game, but I mean, I think for games I'm talking like a few 45-second versions of songs, so the real short little clips that can easily be looped, because that's what happens in games. So that's the idea. Actually, I also kind of thought it'd be cool, just for the purposes of like recording, to, let's say I want to do that one, but I don't want to hit the other ones. Well, I can just kind of detune these guys and move these strings over so they're not in the way, and then I could probably pretty easily just play that one. And then tune the other ones back up, and if I just want to play this one, do the same thing. Just kind of, you know, detune them a little, pull them out of the way. I can even tape them, doesn't matter, I don't care. And then get some nice separation that way, you know, get kind of more of that chamber ensemble dealio going on. So that is what I've been up to today. The other 2 days I was off, and the day before that I didn't have this camera. My sister had to borrow it back. That's what happens when you're using stuff that's on loan from people that are awesome enough to loan you stuff, is they need it back sometimes, and you got to be like, yeah, go ahead, take it back, because, you know, that's what we should do for people that help us out, is be cool if they need their shit back. So I didn't really get a whole lot done other than today with all this nonsense, but there's some other stuff. I still got to show you my ghetto rig lighting videos. I'm going to put that in a different vlog because this is already pretty long. Alright guys, I've had too much caffeine. That's what it is. I had a giant Trenta tea from Starbucks, and I got home and there was one of these sitting in the fridge from my sister from Pete's, and I'm like, whee! So between the massive amounts of caffeine and the nicotine from my vaporizer, almost 10 years I smoked, and then I finally decided I should probably switch to something else. But I like smoking a lot, so I wasn't about to give up the nicotine. I'm thoroughly addicted. That's what's happening. I'm going to shoot some more vlogs tonight and hopefully set it up so that they come out throughout the week, because they take a while to render. My computers aren't very new. So I'll see you later.